What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Havoc, Shake are both in the house. This is the Not for Debate podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcast Music. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and most definitely share. We have a special guest in the house. He has over 426 followers on Twitch. Mr. Stream Hype, the man, the myth, the legend, ReigningRavens.
Appreciate you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. And as soon as I heard about this, I'm like, I got to get on. You know,
oh man, I appreciate that.
And it's a rapidly growing podcast from what I can see, and I'm glad to be here.
Man, we're glad to have you. But first thing first, I want to address divorce. You know, you've been dressing a whole lot differently since moving into that new house, man. It's just. I can't put my finger on it, but you're a changed man.
Hey, by the way,
must be the fireplace.
Does Carlton know that you have a sweater?
To address these clowns real fast,
oh, now we clowns.
To address them real quick, look, I read the comments, right? So I have to look the part.
Okay.
And also shout out to my mom because she actually bought this shirt for me.
Shout out to mom.
I felt like since today is her birthday, I will wear this shirt for a very, very special podcast with my guy ReigningRavens in the house.
All right.
I felt like this was important. I had to look somewhat formal for this.
Absolutely.
I hear you. I mean, you look like $1 million. You look like you invested in GameStop early.
Actually, it was Tesla. It's Tesla. Get it right.
Okay.
But ReigningRaven, before we even jump into the pod, I did want to say, because I probably haven't even said this to you, and how long we known each other? About 7 years now.
About 7, a little over 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. I just wanted to tell the people in the podcast like how much I appreciate you over my time on YouTube, because I've admired so much what you've done as far as YouTube is concerned, as far as the way you produce your videos, how you market yourself on other social platforms, even coached me up on how to do certain things as far as in this community. I just wanted to say thank you. That's number one.
You're very welcome, man. You're very welcome. You've always been a good dude, and I like to help people who are, who I feel like we vibe with,
Right. Like if you guys haven't caught an old school ReigningRavens stream where he would I just feel like, no disrespect to streamers today that just go live and they just do their thing.
Back in my day, see,
because ReigningRaven, he would go all out with it. Like he would schedule the stream 24 hours early, and then when the stream would pop up, he would have the Jerky XP trailer come up, and he would have his little music in the background. Have his little networking thing going on in the right corner of the screen, all purple. That joint was, what's the word? Clean. Yes, that joint was clean. He had it going on. Hold that thought. Excuse me. Welcoming Banks, showing up.
What's up,
late
Banks?
as usual. What's going on, man?
Well, considering the fact that we normally record on 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, I just recently got off work 4 minutes ago. Yeah, man. Thanks for pushing it back.
My bad.
Where you been the past 3 minutes then?
What's going on, boys? Hey, man.
Man.
Humbled by your presence, Mr. ReigningRavens, man. What's going on, brother?
As am I, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for, like I was just saying, I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been kind of following along with this podcast, and it's something I listen to while I'm working personally. Just to be honest with you guys, how I consume this content is when I'm working. But it's really cool to see like the topics you guys discuss, because it's the same stuff that me and my coworkers are talking about like 5 minutes ago, and you guys are talking about it here on the podcast. So I think it's really cool. You got a good group of guys here. I don't know how you found these people, great one, but keep at it, man. You got to support yourself.
Faith.
Yes, sir.
God is good, bro. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
That's it. You know, you support the ones you surround yourself with a group of guys that support you, and it's very evident. So, congrats on that great one. But yeah, I'm really humbled to be here, and I it's cool to be on a podcast I listen to. So.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Now,
appreciate you coming
before Banks rudely interrupted me, gloating you real fast. So back to what I was saying. So he had in the right corner of the screen. He had this whole socially network thing. Had Twitter up there. Had Instagram. Had Google Plus at the time. Like that joint was clean. Like he had it. Like it was beautiful. Like it was all color matched. Everything. Like you see in his background right now. He got the neon purple in the background with the Under Armour purple shirt on.
Yeah, no, he synced up.
It's all by accident. It wasn't planned.
Yeah, no, he's synced up, bro.
Like
he got it all lined up.
He literally has a going on.
I gotta tell you though, man. I get it from Dion Primetime Sanders. He said if you look good, you play good. But at the same time, like it kind of affected my life in a way to where now I can't wear Under Armour socks with Nike shoes. Like everything got a match. You know what I mean?
True. So but Dion also said you play good, you get paid good too.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the end of that quote.
Now, I did want to share another story. I don't know if you remember this story, Double R. When I made my new logo. I'll show you guys this logo real fast. This logo. So it was one of those times we was on the Xbox Live party or whatever. It was after one of his streams or whatever. And this is one of these teaching moments that he had with me. Was like he was real blunt and honest, and I respected it too. Before I made this logo, I had another logo. So he came out and was like,
trash.
Do you remember this conversation? He remembers this conversation, right? So he was like, great one, DeVore. I'm telling you this from a good place, but it literally looks like you just went into Microsoft Paint. It looks like you went into Microsoft Paint and you made this logo. You need to go and make a new logo.
Hey.
So listen, he was just providing you some constructive criticism, my brother. Look at you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same logo.
And look at the house.
No, this isn't the logo. You don't want to see the old one. You don't want to see the old one. This is the one I took time. It took me 3 days to come up with this because I wanted to be on that Double R standard. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I mean, look, luckily you heard it early rather than later because it's the year 2021. There are people out here still with Microsoft PowerPoint logos. So you're able to dodge that bullet. Thanks to your man's out here, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate it, man, for his blunt and honesty because it was trash.
Well, everybody's first logo is trash.
We're working on, speaking of logos, we're actually working on, DeVore and I were speaking up, was it day before yesterday? Mm-hmm. We were talking about, I don't know if DeVore has, informed you guys, but we're trying to get a cartoon versions of ourselves made for the logo. I think that's the direction you wanted to go with it.
So Reigning Raven, let me get your take on this.
Kind of like
yeah.
Let me get Double R's take on this though, because this is how I wanted to do it. Because I wanted to make it like a animated strip. So you got me sitting in the middle. I guess I'm gonna be flexing or something like that. And then Banks is gonna be not Shake gonna be sitting in the right. He's gonna be sitting at his table with his little bottle of wine and talking while he's doing it. And Havoc, he's got his I guess he's gonna be sitting in the corner with his arms crossed like this with his gray shirt on. And then Banks, I haven't decided what I wanted Banks to be doing. And
hopefully it's counting money or on the phone.
Actually, you know what? Counting money. How about that? Making it
How
rain.
about a money phone?
Yeah, we're gonna have something like that as far as him making it rain. I thought I should run this by you, Double R, because everything that you tell me to do, I do.
Well, if that's something you want to set up, I can definitely hook you up with the right people for that. So,
appreciate that, man. I thought you did all this by yourself.
No, man. Money talks.
Right.
It sure does.
But we ready. We ready. If it talks, we ready.
There you go.
All right. So with that being said, I'm so glad Banks showed up when he showed up because I was trying to save this topic for Banks to show up. Double R.
Yes,
You're
sir.
a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Oh, here we go.
Diehard Baltimore Ravens fan. As far as the Baltimore Ravens,
why aren't you a Ravens fan, DeVore? You from there?
I could have sworn I told the origin story, but I'm gonna run it like this is double R. This double R stream here, so I'm gonna say 15 seconds. I watched the Ace Ventura movie, and that was one of my favorite movies. That's how I became a Dolphins fan. But
okay,
speaking of, since we on the origin stories, go ahead and tell the guys. Finkel? Oh, Jim Carrey was the guy back then, and just.
Right,
Ray
but
Finkel's
that movie
the character.
was about Ray Finkel. Remember, he missed the
right.
I have a quick question. How did you become a Jets fan?
all right. Please tell the guys how you became a Baltimore Ravens fan.
All right, so I get this question a lot because much like Great One DeVore, I don't support the team I am local to. I recently moved to Las Vegas 3 years ago. Prior to that, my whole life I've been in Chicago. So the way it started was shortly after the Ravens' first Super Bowl. I was not a fan during that time, and I did not spectate the first Super Bowl that the Ravens won. So shortly after the first Ravens Super Bowl, it was after school, and I'm hanging out. It was after Sunday school, and I'm hanging out with a couple of my buddies, and we're watching the Bears, and I believe it's the Bucks. I'm pretty sure the Bears were playing somebody, and they were getting blown out. And much like networks do, they're like, "Hey, let's take you on over to New York," and like they got. In other words, they got a better game that's playing right now. This is a blowout. It's third quarter. Bears are down like 40 points. So
let's see what's going on in Baltimore.
Let's take you on down to Baltimore and see what's going on there.
Well, this had to been when the Ravens were a pretty bad team. This is probably is this pre Ray Lewis, Ed Reed era, or
no
during?
Well, Ray Lewis was 96. He was there, when the team started. No, we're talking the year after their first Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
So they switched it on over, and to be honest, I don't even remember who the Ravens were playing. It was that long ago. But I remember watching number 75 on the offensive line, Jonathan Ogden. And I'm like, man, this dude's a beast. And I'm watching him, and like all the other offensive linemen are letting people pass him. This guy's like, you get one. He's like, he's a beast. And I'm like, you know what? I might need to start following this team in addition to the Bears, because Chicago's all about pizza, hot dogs, and the Bears.
And
of course.
And so, I still got those buddies I talk with, but I kept watching the Ravens after that every week, in addition to the Bears. But I kind of got away from the Bears because they sucked. But I started watching guys like Jonathan Ogden. I saw Ray Lewis. I saw at the time we had a beast cornerback, Chris McAllister. A lot of people don't talk about anymore.
Right.
Deion Sanders, Samari Rolle. Yeah, Deion Sanders at one point came and joined us.
He played safety.
Terrell Suggs, and it's like every year, like this team got better and better.
Jamie Sharper.
Yep. And so, it's a team I've grown to love. Every year they have improved so much. Granted, there's some years I'd like to forget, like the whole Kyle Bowler and Anthony Wright years. I'd like to forget about those. We even brought Steve McNair at one point, and he did nothing for us. Rest in peace, Steve McNair. But that's kind of how it started. To be honest with you, it started because the Bears were getting blown out.
Thank you, Chicago. And to our Chicago listeners, we apologize. Because if you're a Chicago Bears fan, wait, wasn't Matt Nagy here one time in the episode? Did he just popped in one day?
Oh yeah, we had Matt Nagy in the comment section saying we're going to lose.
Are you serious? Are you kidding?
His name was Matt Nagy. We pulled it up. We thought it was the real Matt Nagy.
Okay.
Although I will say this is maybe the first story I've heard of a fandom of a team starting with O-line play. Usually, especially Dolphins fans, usually it's everyone's origin story at the team is either you're from South Florida or you saw Dan Marino play, and that was pretty much it. I ain't heard too many. I saw Jonathan Ogden smashing people around.
I mean, he just looked like what's that fictional character name from Harry Potter? The big dude with the long hair.
I've never seen or read any Harry Potter.
Okay, well, he looks like that dude, like a mythical.
Okay.
You're talking about Hagrid.
Hagrid, yeah.
You see,
this dude's like Hagrid IRL. Like that's what that's what Jonathan Ogden was to me.
He was massive, man. He was a big man.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't he like 6'7", something like that? 300.
Might even be able to, yeah, he's huge. Just
all I know is I saw him on the football field. He looked bigger than all the other football players.
Yep. Yep.
That's enough said.
All right.
But surprisingly, I mean, we didn't get any information about Ozzie Newsome, man. Credit to him, man. He's the reason why Baltimore, they're the Ravens for the most part.
He's been there a long time.
Everything he's contributed.
I think he's going to go down as, I don't know if they have awards for this, but he's going to go down as one of the best front office staff members of all time. Yeah, I don't care what sport you're talking about. Like, everybody respects Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah. He's one of the rare people. He was a Hall of Fame player and then established another career as a Hall of Fame executive. I think the only two people I could think about that I don't know if you can maybe put that on Elway, even though he has a Super Bowl, but they're the kind of the two dudes that come to mind. But I would even give the nod to Ozzie Newsome due to 2 Super Bowls and even longer run than John Elway had with the Broncos.
Oh, I was going to ask, fast forward to the Baltimore Ravens 2020, what did you think of the Baltimore Ravens season?
I will say there is a lot of parity in the NFL. The Steelers started out great, right? 11-0, but they didn't end well. The Ravens didn't start off too well, but I will say it kind of ended better. It's kind of unfortunate, though, to see how it ended, but it was nice to kind of finally crush the narrative of Lamar Jackson can't win a playoff game. Well, he won a playoff game, but now the narrative is Lamar Jackson can't win 2 playoff games. You know what I mean?
Keep moving that goalpost.
It's always something, man.
It's always something, and now, Banks, you and I are going to disagree here in a minute, so I'm glad you're keeping that same energy. But listen, I knew that game was not going to go well. I'm referring to the Ravens and Bills game. I knew it wasn't going to go well because we saw arguably the greatest kicker of all time. First kick, hits the right upright. Left kick, hits the left right upright. It's like I knew it wasn't going to go well. Lamar Jackson put together probably one of the best drives I've seen him put together, playoffs or not, and it ended in 102-yard pick six. That hurt. That hurt.
That's crushing.
A lot of people say, you can't put that on Lamar Jackson. You're right. You can't put that loss completely on Lamar Jackson because I'm of the belief that it's 11-11. You cannot blame any one particular person for a loss. Granted, There's exceptions to that rule when you're a kicker and you're put in a situation to put up a game-winning kick, a field goal, and miss it. Then I guess it does fall on you. Shout out to Cody Parkey. But yeah, I mean, it was a team effort. We didn't lose that game. We just got outplayed, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
We got outplayed.
So my next question is going to be, as far as moving forward with Lamar Jackson, what do you think that the Baltimore Ravens need to do to get you guys over the hump? Because you guys are literally Super Bowl favorites since his rookie year, to be honest with you. Y'all are the most complete team defensively and offensively. Like, what do you guys need to put in place for you guys to make it over the hunt to the Super Bowl?
And that's funny you say it because it seems like we're seeing it's the same song and dance every year. It's because you're absolutely right. We do surround ourselves with talent. Offensively, defensively, special teams, we're the best. We just saw Morgan Cox, or long snapper, retire, unfortunately, but we got the best kicker. We've got a really solid defense with a really good next man up mentality. There's not a lot of defenses out there that have a good next man up. Like, there's the starters, and then there's a big drop off to like second string and third. So there's that, but also I think what makes us really unique, and it's not an easy question to answer, is because of how different the Ravens are compared to every other team. Literally, our whole offense is designed around one man, and that's Lamar Jackson. Okay? You cannot take a Nick Foles and put him behind center and expect him to do the things that Lamar Jackson's doing right now. Now, granted, Nick Foles might be a better pure passer than Lamar Jackson. I'll give you that, But see, I knew I offended Banks because he left. But it was only a matter of time till he left. But so it's an offense that's based around Lamar Jackson. I like to put it with the analogy like Shaquille O'Neal. His cars, I don't know if you know this, but he can't do anything with his cars once he's done with them because they are tailored to him. The seats are moved way back. The pedals are moved way forward just so he can fit in the thing. It's custom. And that's what Lamar Jackson is. He is a custom ride for our team, and nobody else can jump in and do what he's doing. Good or bad. You might say, "Oh, I don't like my quarterback running 15, 20 times per game." Well, that's our identity right now, and that's kind of what we've decided that we're going to do. Is we're going to be a run-first type team, and passing is kind of second nature. And it's kind of unfortunate to see. I'd like to see Lamar Jackson pass more because I think he is a better passer than people give him credit for. So,
but you got to give him something to throw too, though.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we disagree at. Now, go ahead.
Actually, you would be.
Let me ask him. You think Lamar Jackson would have benefited from a receiver like Diggs or D-Hop, just like Josh Allen did because of their catch radiuses? And to help him mask his inaccuracies? Yeah.
So let me say first, and this answers kind of both your questions, is I do not believe that Marquise Brown is a number one receiver. However you feel about that, I don't think that he's a number one guy.
He's not.
He's a great deep threat.
Not.
He's a great deep threat, and I like everything about Brown. But Hollywood is not a number one guy. We need to get Lamar Jackson a number one guy. You think about what he's got out there. I mean, you're talking about Willie Snead, someone who's been around with Drew Brees for a while now. He's still good, but he's not really that guy that's going to demand double coverage.
He's a 2 or 3 at best.
He's a 2 or 3 at best.
Yeah.
Marquise Brown, I think he's a solid 2.
Yeah, it's very solid 2.
Very solid 2.
Yeah, I think especially I think you got to give. And I'm not saying you have to have a whole stable of Pro Bowl, wide receivers, but you got to give him one guy.
Right.
Well, like Hollywood Brown, on most teams, you just tell him to be a deep threat, he will do his job. But there's a reason why, Buffalo made that move for Diggs, because they said, look, we're not gonna have a murderer's row of wide receivers here. We're going to give you one guy that you can lean on when times get tough. And I don't think Lamar has had that. And I know they try to shine up some guys and try and make them look like they are, but there's no number one guy there in Baltimore. And until they get him one, they're not going to be able to unlock their true potential, I would say.
Yeah, and that's
right, you got to remember Lamar Jackson.
What's up?
If I could just chime in there really quick,
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson has some good weapons at the receiving core position when he was at University of Louisville. So I think we're yet to see him, become the quarterback that he needs to be. And it is kind of difficult to just have your primary receiving threat be a tight end. Tight ends don't necessarily dominate games unless you have those guys like Kittle.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
Damn.
See, that was Travis Kelce pulling his internet connection because he didn't name him first. He's like, Kittle, yank. Yeah, look, Kittle is like the new era Gronk, right? Like, even if he's not catching passes, he's giving you that extra blocker that's basically just an extra O lineman on the field. But in terms of game breaking, there's only Kelce, sometimes Kittle. It's either Kelce or Waller, I would say. But Andrews is incredibly consistent.
Darren Waller has made an incredible transformation. Oof. Seeing what he did with the Ravens, not doing much with the Ravens and being a beast for the Raiders, it's insane.
He went from a dude to all pro in a season.
Yep.
It's very rare. And every time I look at the Ravens roster, I'm just saying at least from Miami fans' perspective, every time I look at the Ravens roster, I'm like, yo, they look good every year.
Yeah.
But they're kind of an example of one of those teams that when you say you're a piece away, they're legitimately a piece away. Like,
I know.
Like, the Dolphins are in a place right now where we're rebuilding, like, from the ground up, basically. And although there are people out here who want to throw away all of our assets for one player, we still need to build comprehensively a whole team. Because one thing we've seen in the playoffs, you need a whole team to win these games. You can't just put one player, put the team on your back. That works in the regular season. That's a regular season strategy.
Yeah.
When it comes to the playoffs, you need a whole team.
Because it's make or break.
100%.
Shout out to Chad Henne, by the way. I never seen a white guy run that fast.
I said that, so I saw Daniel Jones outrunning cornerbacks. I was like, what in the world is happening here? And then he tripped over his feet. I was like, there he goes.
There he goes, yeah.
All right, so Davon got a question in the chat. As far as Lamar Jackson is concerned, do you think he deserves a max contract?
I would say that's a really tough one.
He won that MVP, so he put you in a hard position.
Oh no, you can't back down now. Are you invested in Lamar Jackson to be in the future of the Baltimore Ravens for the next 10 years?
I think we have to be, because like I said, this is a team that we're slowly designing towards him, at least offensively. As a team that's being designed for the way he runs an offense. So yeah, I think he's our guy. About the max contract, I'm not sure. I'm sure he'll be chasing that bag here soon. But
we talking about how many years you got left? About 2, maybe.
On his contract, I think it's 2 years
they
left.
They could extend.
Yeah, and especially considering the style of quarterback he is, he's going to look for that extension sooner rather than later.
Yep.
Because I bet you his agent got that Dak Prescott footage rolling 24/7, talking about you need to get your money now. None of this. I'm gonna try and reason with the owner.
Yeah.
It's either, I think, especially when you look at the NBA and you look at how the players have essentially taken control of the league away from the general managers, and they've decided who they want to play for. And I think the players, particularly look at Deshaun Watson, he's trying to, work that leverage right now. So at a certain point, you just have to say, this is our guy, and if we're going to make a run, we're going to have to make a run with him.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to move him. Now, justifying moving him when you don't really have a backup plan, that's going to be a hard sell. That's going to be a really hard sell.
This is really true because we really don't have we have RG3, and then we have Huntley. So it's like we have 3 of like the same prototype quarterback. Extremely talented.
It's like past, present, and future. Lamar Jackson, present. RG3 is Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
The future.
Exactly. So I don't know about giving a max contract, but I think he'll definitely be the mainstay of this team for the years to come.
Do you think you can pay him? Because right now Mahomes sets the market in terms of contracts for quarterbacks.
Of course, rightfully so.
Absolutely. Does Lamar looking for a number like that?
I was kind of hoping Bakes would be here for this part, but it's probably better that he's not. I don't put Lamar, all respect to how he plays and everything and the MVP and stuff, I don't put him anywhere in the same realm as Patrick Mahomes. In fact, right now, I'd probably take 9 or 10 quarterbacks before I take Lamar.
I know that had to sting. The only regret I have is Banks is not here right now.
Man. It sounds like, and this is, this is can be an unenviable position to be in as a franchise when you have to really double down on a guy who's not really the guy, but if you put the pieces around him, he can be the guy.
Right.
AKA Ryan Tannehill. I like Ryan Tannehill, but it is what it is. Man, this even more secure as a fact. Y'all got to get him a wide receiver. You got to do a little more
that's what I'm
to help him out.
We need to see. We haven't really seen him perform with a true number one. Get him the true number one, and then let's take the temperature reading again and be like, all right, we gave him every tool he needs to succeed. Where do we stand with Lamar?
The one thing I like about Lamar getting a true number one is the same advantage that Tannehill has for having Derrick Henry is that when you have good receivers, you gotta if you pack the box with Ravens and he has a good receiving core, it's going to be easier for him to throw the ball because he's going to have one-on-one coverage a lot. So
you're exactly right.
And if you unpack the box, it's going to give him room to run.
Exactly right. Because the defense really has no incentive for dropping back or doubling guys when they're not going to pass the ball. If they're going to, like you said, they're going to stack the box. It's either going to be a quarterback run, or it's going to be a handoff, or it's going to be an option play. One of those 3 things. Granted, you probably have sprinkled passes in there, but yeah.
As a matter of fact, I heard him say in one of his press conferences that the defense were calling his plays at the line of scrimmage.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I didn't hear that. Yeah.
I'll send the link to Great One DeVore. I'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point, this is one of these things where if you're gonna, once you give him the contract, it's not like a Philadelphia thing where they gave him the contract and the team is still doing good, but it's not really working out. Like, it's not working out at Philadelphia at all. Everyone got fired. And they're looking to move a dude who just signed a massive contract extension to incredibly serious cap detriment.
Yeah.
So for me, it's one of these things, if you identify him as a guy, one, don't get raked over the coals on the price. I mean, I feel like the league at some point figures out all running quarterbacks. Even look at Mike Vick, as he kind of grew into his career, he leaned on his arm more at the later, like after he got back in the league. He leaned on his arm more than anything else. He just used the run as a threat, but he leaned on his arm more. And you saw what happened when you give Michael Vick a dude like Deshaun Jackson. You saw what happened there. Like that was an amazing pairing.
Yep.
So for me, as long as the Ravens don't give him a true number one option, you're really shortchanging his potential.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I did want to go ahead and let Cap have this question because I feel like it's a very, very interesting one because I do seem to see some comparison between Chris Greer and Ozzie Newsome. But I'm going to go ahead and read his question that's up on the screen right now for the people that's probably going to listen to this a little later on our streaming services. Excuse me. Ravens dude. His name is ReigningRavens, Cap, by the way. What's your thoughts about Ozzie Newsome and what he's done for your franchise? Do you feel Chris Greer is in the same stratosphere as him? Which that should have been a question mark. Your thoughts, Raven dude.
Okay, so I can't say much about Chris Greer, your GM. However, I think it's very admirable that despite everything else that's going on, people have been like, Team Tannehill for so long, and then they go from Team Tannehill to Team Fitzmagic, and it's like everybody is behind Fitzmagic, but then he's like, I'm gonna get us another quarterback, right? And he got you Tua, which I don't really care for him, but if you like him, if he's your cup of tea, that's cool. But as far as what Ozzie Newsome has meant for the Ravens, really he could be credited for every single success that we've had. Now there's been a couple of bad guys in there, like I've been very unspoken about Matt Elam and why we even drafted him in the first place. That was an Ozzie Newsome move, but you can't win them all. And I think Ozzie Newsome is really as great of a football player as he was that plus tenfold what he's been as a general manager, and everything he's contributed to the Ravens. The time he puts in studying these and scouting players, he knows exactly what's going to fit. There's a saying in our locker room, play like a Raven. This guy watches film and conducts interviews, and he knows who's going to be that guy that comes in and is going to positively impact our ball club. So he's a creative genius. I don't think I've seen that kind of success from any team in a league where guy jumps in, gets drafted by our team or is brought in and is an immediate impact. So shout out to Ozzie for that.
How long has he been with the Ravens?
It's over 20
over
years
25 years. Over 25 years now.
Yeah, Chris has only been with. As far as official title, calling the shots, you could say only 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
yeah, Newsome is a certified legend at this point. Like he could quit right now.
He's going to the Hall of Fame because I believe
he's already there as a player.
Well, as a player, but can you get reelected for the Hall of Fame?
You go away. He's gonna have a bust with him with his uniform on, and have a bust with his shirt and tie on.
You got to do something for him as far as being an executive for the organization because it can't go unnoticed. Like I think Jerry Jones, he got in as far as being a GM too, didn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
No, as an owner, he got in as an owner.
No, there's no way he's in there as a GM.
Why not?
As an owner.
Oh, as an owner, but I feel like Jerry Jones has done an excellent job with the Dallas Cowboys as far as bringing in talent.
He is a Hall of Fame. He is Hall of Fame at maximizing the profits of the Dallas Cowboys franchise. Now, is he a Hall of Fame GM? No, he's not. Because the Super Bowls that he does have, he gave the keys to Jimmy Johnson. And he said, go get the presents, go get the tools. And Jimmy Johnson did that. He just paid for it, which is all he had to do. And his franchise is consistently the most profitable franchise in the NFL, whether they are good or bad.
And check out,
and
he did that again with Bill Parcells. Turned the team around again, and as soon as it got to winning, he took it away from Bill Parcells. It's my team now, and then
I mean, the pattern is starting to show itself. You know, at some point, Jerry's going to take his team back. But I mean, look,
Jerry's
he's a
not
Hall of
going
Famer
to
at the
go
bank.
anywhere.
He's a Hall of Famer at the bank. So
yeah, and Jerry Jones is not going to go anywhere. He's until he dies, pretty much. That's his team. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's grooming his son Stephen Jones into that role, though, because I believe he's taken over as far as the GM role, and not having that much say so. And I felt like Stephen has done an excellent job as far as going in the drafting players, because they've been hitting on the draft picks over the past several years.
Ever since Stephen took over, they haven't been signing these old veterans like they normally have. You know what I mean?
That is true. But I will say the Dallas Cowboys are regularly in salary cap purgatory. Like, they are regularly just signing dudes with no rhyme. I mean, you give a running back a long-term deal before you give the quarterback the long-term deal in this league. And meanwhile, I don't know if you've noticed about Zeke, his production has actually been going steadily downwards since his rookie season when he came on the scene.
Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, Zeke.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, the Cowboys have a pattern too, where they do draft a lot of young dudes. They give them huge contracts, and what happens when they get them big contracts?
Yep.
I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence is probably one of the best examples of it. You give him all the money in the world, because I think that's part of Jerry Jones' thing is he hypes up players in his mind. So if he has a dude that
they look great on paper.
Yeah, like you have a dude that he's a legitimate Pro Bowler. Jerry Jones will be like, I got a Hall of Famer. Let's pay him that top end money. But we'll see. They're gonna have. I mean, they basically wasted. No, I wouldn't say. Yeah, they basically wasted a year this year. So we'll see. We'll see with them, man. But
one thing that drove me crazy about Jerry Jones, though, was the fact that Jason Garrett was trying to set a tone in his locker room. Like,
oh my god!
And when a star player will get out of line, and Jason Garrett will try to discipline him by doing something, he will go to Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones will override what he was. So they didn't have to listen to the coach.
Yep.
It's like,
and
why have him there if you're gonna do that to him?
And the problem is Jason Garrett was fine with it. Jason Garrett was like, listen to the boss. So that's how he kept his job that long.
We're seeing a similar dynamic happen with Pittsburgh, though. None of the players, they respect Tomlin, but they're not going to take orders from him.
Oh, I got a perfect question for you. Do you think Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Famer?
Here we go.
No.
How are you?
Yeah.
My words. I mean, what does a guy have to do to get into the Hall of Fame nowadays?
If John Madden could go in there, so can he.
John Madden deserves to be in the Hall based on the video game alone.
His name needs to be on the Hall of Fame. It should be the Hall of John Madden. That's what it should be.
Yeah. Well, I 100% disagree. I feel if you can go, how long has he been in charge? 15 years now, something like that.
About 15 years, yeah.
I feel like if you can go 15 years without ever having a losing season, and you have a Super Bowl on the resume, I mean, you could pack it in at that point.
I mean, yeah, 15 years and one Super Bowl. I mean, okay, you're 1 for 15. That's not bad.
And we got coaches out here with professional careers that have gone 0 for 45.
I know.
All right, so that transitions to my next question, because I know Cap is his question is a little bit similar to mine. But as far as looking at the AFC North right now, you guys have became a lot more competitive opposed to recent years. So which team in the AFC North right now you think intimidates you guys as the Baltimore Ravens the most?
100%. It's the Cleveland Browns. 100%. Because even in the years where the Browns have sucked and they've only finished the year with 1 or 2 wins, every time we matched up with them, throw out the playbook, throw out the stat sheet, because we're going to get a dogfight every time. Every time, it's no matter how bad this Browns team is, they always give us a run for our money. And it's especially evident this year. I mean, they actually have a playoff team. They're one game away from, potentially going to the championship game to go play in the Super Bowl. So 100%, I think it's the Cleveland Browns right now. They're the primary threat. I'm not worried about the Cincinnati Bengals. They've got quite some work to do. They're in rebuilding mode. Yes. I'm not worried about them. Pittsburgh, I'd say right now, if we're going to rank that division, it's Ravens 1, Cleveland 2, Pittsburgh 3, and Bengals 4. So in order of threat. So that's the way I see it.
It's starting to look like the Cincinnati Bengals are starting to look a whole lot like the Detroit Lions, man.
Yeah,
it's like the rebuild that never ends.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Money?
Even though the Steelers swept you out last year?
No.
Huh? Yeah, the Steelers.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
This season.
There we go.
All right, so you got about, I'm pretty sure 15 minutes left. I know you got to get out of here and stream. I wanted to transition this over to the streaming atmosphere because you started off on YouTube. What has been, I guess, the transition from YouTube to Twitch? What has been the biggest issue?
So, I mean, it's all about marketing yourself towards like what people expect. Part of the reason why I grew so quickly on YouTube, I went from 2,000 subs to 15,000 subs in 1 year. One thing that played into that a lot was I was doing a lot of post-game commentaries. And for those of you guys who are watching or you don't know what that is, it's, hey, the Ravens just got playing whatever team. I'm going to jump online and record a video and talk about how the game went. While that did contribute a lot to the growth on my channel, I quickly realized it wasn't something I was wanting to do going forward because I found myself it started off nice, but I wasn't happy with it because I'd be out watching the game with my bros, and it's like, hey, I know it's only third quarter, but I got to get going. I got to be home in time to record this vid and get it out before anyone else.
Yep.
So it's like, it honestly, like, to me, that the more and more I step back and look at it, it's so cringy to me because it's like I'd be sitting there talking into a microphone to nobody and just uploading this video, not a live video, but like uploading a video after I finish editing it, and it's like I didn't really enjoy the game. So I have a mentality, unless I'm getting paid to do it like work or something, if it feels like a chore, I don't do it.
Right.
And honestly, recording those videos week in, week out, it started feeling like a chore. And I wasn't able to sit back and enjoy the game like I wanted to. So I'm like, all right, y'all can have this. I'm going to do something else. So I'm like, I got an idea. I'm going to start like streaming my games, like video games. And that's when I found out that I'm a lot better Madden player than you are, Great One DeVore. And
I remember those battles.
And wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Everybody here is better than DeVore.
Before you continue, Banks, you have no right to say anything.
Bro, I can tell you, I'll play you in Madden when I feel like it, bro. Whenever I feel like actually playing you, I will beat you.
Bruh,
every time.
You are sub 500 with me right now.
Are you serious?
Now I'm going to ReigningRavens now. Now, as far as we are ReigningRavens go, I believe we are neck and neck right now. But I think I won the last two matchups, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's up on you, bro. So I remember once you guys played like 4 times in a day, and I think he smacked me.
Well, that was probably Madden's ago.
Great One DeVore, to be honest, Great One DeVore does have my number as of late. But he's the type to see. My thing is, I was raised with some level of respect for others. So when I win a game or lose a game, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to run it back?" Great One Devore will change his number. Go offline. He'll just go dark right after he wins the game. You can't get a contact on him anymore. He's gone.
Oh man, you the ghost gamer, ain't you? You the dude that'll lose a couple games. You win one, you be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna see y'all later, man. I gotta go. You that gamer, huh?
Hey,
I got one particular question that because up until this point, and just the kind of, and I know we got you for a little while longer, but I just have to ask this question because the build up to this podcast to this day was actually pretty real, especially for myself, because the whole plan of this podcast thing came about when we were just being Xbox parties back in the day, and it was just like, man, we do a lot of debating between this person and that person. Why I feel like somebody should be, so I came to Devore with this idea with the podcast, and here we are today. Thankfully, like I said, with God's grace, I've had two other very, very impactful individuals in Shake and Havoc join the ride. These guys have been a big blessing to the podcast. I tell Devore all the time, I appreciate how much work that he puts in behind the scenes. So just in case anybody is watching this podcast right now and they have just a little inkling of like, they want to get out there and they want to become a streamer or they want to become a content creator. Speaking from someone for yourself, you have over 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, and your base is growing on Twitch. Just what is something that you can recommend them for those people who are aspiring to get to that level of success?
Number one is always be yourself, because people are following you because of you. I could sit here and play any video game I want. People aren't coming up for the gaming necessarily. They're coming to interact with me. So that's the first thing. And number two, do not try to copy anybody. Be your own person. Be your own designer. Be your own creator. Because if you're going to copy someone's content, what's stopping them to go straight from the source? And like, why get a carbon copy of them when they can just go to them? You know what I mean? So be your own person. Don't be afraid to take chances on doing the unpopular thing, because you never know. That might be the thing that causes you to blow up, So stay true to yourself, be yourself, and be genuine. Be genuine in how you handle yourself, because there's going to be a lot of moments where you're going to be caught off stream. And for those people who know me personally and come to my streams, they know that I'm the same persona online and offline. It's the same. I don't put on an act or anything. So I think part of that too that plays into that is because streaming isn't my job. I have a career in law enforcement, and it's like gaming to me is something I was going to do anyway, right? I just happened to put it on stream. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to sit back and play video games for a couple hours, it's going to happen anyway. Let me just stream it. So it's a nice time to just be able to hang out with people too,
Right, and it kind of normalizes you in a way too, because as one of the things that I just took away from what you just said is I had no idea that you were even in law enforcement. I do see the flag in the back with the with respect to the the black and the blue and things like that. I have a lot of buddies of mine, very, very close friends of mine that are in law enforcement. I once considered a long time ago, a career in law enforcement, never got around to it. So it kind of normalizes you in a way, because sometimes people, as being in law enforcement, people have these types of perceptions that, with respect, they think that, you guys are uptight and, you're not. You never been through nothing.
And to a certain extent, I don't blame them, because what they see is what's on the news, right? That's they won't show me doing something nice for somebody. That doesn't generate clicks on news channels,
right?
Which honestly, at the same time too, there's a reason why, and this is totally getting away from sports, but I have to address what you said. There's a reason why, like, when things happen not so great for police and it makes the news, because that's news. less than 0.5% of us are bad apples, and that's a pretty darn good. That's better than you'll find in clergymen, to be honest with you. But like I said, going back to it, I just am my own person. Whether I'm streaming here or I'm out on the streets doing things, people might see the badge, but they don't see the heart that's underneath it. You know what I mean? So, right. I try to be the same person online and offline. I feel like people are flocking to that for that reason. So
it's an interesting point. I think particularly, like, for example, if something happens out here just in the world in general, I feel more comfortable coming to someone like you rather than hear it from someone else, because I already know you to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I already have a gauge of who you are. So I know I can get a more textured perspective on things,
100%.
Kind of like that goes back to what you were saying about being your own man. I think when you said, this isn't my career, I just do this for fun. That's why you can be, as natural as possible, because I don't need this.
Yeah.
Breaking news: the Texans are hiring Ravens assistant David Curley as the next head coach.
Wow. I'm telling you, the Ravens are like a community college. You start here, you go anywhere.
You could be anything here in Baltimore.
Could you break down a little bit about who this guy is, Reigning Ravens?
I actually don't know.
This is the first time I heard his name.
I don't know a heck of a lot about him. Those specific player groups, I'm not really. I know of them, but I don't know exactly what their day-to-day is like. So I can't tell you as much as I can tell you, like, for instance, like a Ozzie Newsome or a John Harbaugh. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Those player-specific groups, it's really hard for me to tell anything about them, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Well, I think I'll be interested to hear if Deshaun Watson had any say, at least in the process of hiring this coach, because apparently he was highly upset when they picked the GM outside of outside of his scope or his purview. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this lands with him.
Yeah, wish him the best of luck. Like I said, Baltimore is somewhere people start. We saw it with Rex Ryan. He went off to coach his own team. Marv Lewis, right?
Right. That's a good point. I forgot about Marvin being on that coaching staff there.
Yeah, people start with the Ravens and they go anywhere. They give them the what we call the 3 to 5 year. So you spend 3 to 5 years in Baltimore doing whatever it is, you can literally go anywhere in the league and be a shoe-in.
And the most important thing there too that I think that I want to acknowledge personally about that franchise that's very, very impressive. I know Havoc can probably elaborate more on this too. Because it's one of the sensitive topics that Havoc talks about with the black coaches in the league in general. With Ozzie Newsome, being in charge of that, he kind of was like the face. And it's true diversity within that organization. Like, it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is or your preference in sex or whatever the case may be, you're going to be given a shot. And so here's another example of that. You know what I mean? Baltimore is leading the way, man. They don't get a lot of credit.
Apparently, he was a wide receiver. He was a wide receiver and quarterbacks coach mostly his whole career.
Okay.
I think he's kind of like the Baltimore Ravens' Dan Campbell.
That's a fair comparison. It's a fair comparison.
Okay. Well, I think Ozzie Newsome just set the standard in terms of just hiring the best possible people. And usually when you do that, diversity isn't too far away. Right. when you just want the best. And if you just look at the track record of the organization, you can't tell me they're not out here hiring the best of the best.
Takes talent to find an Ed Reed out there, to find a Terrell Suggs, or that takes talent.
You gotta have an eye for it.
You gotta have an eye for it. Yeah, you have to know if this individual is gonna be a good fit for your organization, for your football club.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, man. It's one of these things where it's even incredible even when you say he's still there.
Yeah,
He's still
I know.
there's no one snipping at his heels. Like the public consensus isn't like, oh man, oh he's getting a little old. No, he's still here. He's still probably as effective as any GM in the league is in year 25. So I tip my cap off to him, man.
Yeah. Raven legend for life.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's established himself in that regard.
You got to get him a statue.
We already got one of Ray Lewis. Maybe we can have one of him standing right next to him.
Mm.
All right. Before we close this out, Reigning Ravens Super Bowl pick: Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Which team you got?
He's a smart man. I know it.
I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's not a smart man.
Yep. Proved it.
I just there's so many reasons why. I mean, at the age of 24 years old, Patrick Mahomes is accomplished more in his life so far than a lot of quarterbacks or even players have done their entire career, in a short NFL life so far. And I like his mindset, but not just because of him. I like that team. I like from top down. I mean, Coach Andy Reid is a class guy,
Mm-hmm.
They asked him, what he's looking forward to after his game, just to give you an idea of the kind of guy he is, right? They interviewed him after that game last week, and they're like, what are you looking forward to most about, going to the Super Bowl again? He said, I'm not really worried about it right now. I just want a double cheeseburger. He said that, and I'm like,
he's a cheeseburger fanatic.
I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you know what? I like that. He's down to earth. At the same time, I'm going to be very upset if Antonio Brown gets another Super Bowl ring.
Why, man?
I don't like the guy, and I don't like Tom Brady either. So
I wish we knew that before we got to the end. We're gonna have you stop by one day, maybe after the Super Bowl, and then have you explain the beef with Antonio Brown. I want to know more about that.
Any guys got? Go ahead, Shake.
For Rain.
Yeah.
And if I was a Baltimore fan, would you like to see Ray Lewis more involved, kind of like how Alonzo Mourning is with the Heat?
I think Ray Lewis would be an awesome mentor or coach, to impart the wisdom that he's got, shoot. I mean, I think he's a certified minister too. I mean, at the very least, like a crisis counselor, right? But at the same time, he knows about defenses, obviously. He could definitely coach linebackers, but I can see him coaching anything defensively, honestly.
Yeah.
He's a defensive mastermind. He really is.
Also, we talk about how the success of the GM, Ozzie Newsome, it's also a matter of culture.
Yep.
Sometimes, I think sometimes it's just as an organization, you just want certain people in the building. And kind of like how you brought up Alonzo Mourning, Udonis Haslem with the Miami Heat. They're just dudes you just want to keep around the building. But from my understanding, Ray Lewis is around, so.
He's around, but he's not really he's not an official member of staff. But yeah, he's around for sure.
The only reason I would enjoy Ray Lewis in a coaching position in Baltimore is if Baltimore happens to lose a very sloppy defensive game and he comes out there like Mike Singletary and gives one of those epic rants. Can't win with him.
Yeah, right.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Yeah, that was a great rant. That was a great rant. I think about it. The best part about that rant was he was talking about Vernon. He was talking about Vernon Davis the whole time.
I know.
I was like, can't do it. Can't do it.
It would be better for him to go back to the locker room and for us to lose without him than to have him on the field and win with him. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't want it.
Yeah, man, he was out there like, you try and win with them. I tried. I just can't do it.
All right, fellas. Final thoughts before we end up closing this out.
As always, it's great to come on here and talk it up. Appreciate our special guest coming on. It's great talking to you this entire time.
Likewise.
And look forward to doing it again.
Likewise, yeah, I'd love to be back on here at some point whenever you guys invite me. I'll continue to listen and plug your podcast on my streams and stuff, and I keep up the great work. I like everything that's going on here.
I appreciate that, man.
That was part of the plan, man. When I was sitting there one day and I was sitting thinking, I had no idea who the hell, excuse my language, but who Shake and Havoc were, who they were. I had no idea who these guys was, but I just remember DeVore calling me like, "Hey, there's two guys," and I think I actually missed the first stream that they were part of. I wasn't there. And I came back the next week and I could just hear Havoc talk. He sounds so educated. Shake, when he's talking, he has a voice, and then kind of find out he has a background in radio. So it's like, man, God, like if I had to get spiritual for a second, it's like everything, bro.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, man. Like
that's right.
It really does.
The pieces always fall and play where they need to.
Absolutely.
And I think Great One DeVore is like the Ozzie Newsome of this podcast, if you will, kind of assembling you guys. And it's working, obviously.
Hey, I'm not the boss. Banks is the boss. I just pay for everything, everything, make everybody look good. That's all I do.
I don't know, man. Is that piano you got in the back, man?
Right? You see my fridge? You see what I'm living in right now?
Yeah.
I don't have a piano.
He's more like the Mike Tannenbaum of the podcast, just leaving Ryan Tannehill a little too much.
I told him
living in luxury.
I told him if this show ends up getting picked up by a network or whomever or whatever happens, the show runs into major success, whatever. I already told him he's already living luxury, so we're gonna have to take out a percentage of his cut, and I'm gonna have to put it into the other guy's hand. I'm gonna have to find out a way to funnel the money because he's already living. He don't need this job.
He really doesn't.
Yep. He don't need this job.
And the great thing is too, once COVID is over and you guys are all able to meet up and stuff and have a meal, and you can order whatever you want, and the waitress comes by with the check, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll take that. Here you go, Great One."
Yeah.
Put that on.
Wait, no. You can't eat with DeVore. He's a super picky eater. I did it once. Never
really.
Did it. Oh, bro, he came to Miami once. Oh my gosh, it was like going out with a woman, man.
Oh boy,
he's I don't want this, I don't want that. I mean, this water's too flat.
like I have experience being in kitchens where the quality of the kitchen is not up to standard.
And I would agree with you on that one, Great One.
And if I see the grill is not cleaned properly because we went to a restaurant where they cook their meat right in front of you.
Like hibachi.
No, it was what was it? Banks like a Peruvian.
A Peruvian steakhouse in a way. Yeah, like a Brazilian steakhouse in a way.
Okay, yeah. And the grill was dirty.
The grill was dirty, and my other issue was they had corn on the cob sitting in, I guess, water, and they would put the corn on the cob on the grill, but they would cross-contaminate the corn on the cob with the meat that was sitting on the grill.
He's speaking facts. I mean,
transported over back and forth, and I'm like, yo, like
these are this is I'm a professional chef. This is what I would consider the homey kitchen, where everything's kind of running on homey rules, where it's like the grill doesn't get cleaned every day, but it gets cleaned every month.
Yeah,
as they're cooking, and that was the other issue. Like they were scraping the grease off the grill while they're still cooking the steak, bro.
So like clearly,
the food though, bro. Relax, bro. The food was
clearly Banks will not be picking the restaurant.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We are going to swine.
I'm not doing this again. If we ever, and I think that's a really great idea, Rainer. That's a perfect idea. I think what we should do as boys, we should definitely, when COVID allows us to, we should definitely all meet up, maybe somewhere in New York that's nice over the holidays or something that we can just go out to a restaurant and just hang and
We going to Vegas. Rainer Raven got my room ready. We going to Vegas.
If I had
go to Vegas.
Vegas.
Come to Vegas, man.
I've been waiting to go to Vegas. I mean, I'm a huge fan of buffets, and there ain't no better place for buffets than Las Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that was really good food there for the buffets. That's why I really did.
It's Las Vegas is legitimately one of the food capitals of the world right now.
Yeah, Havoc, like you're in the cooking, industry. Like we have a lot of like Michelin, chefs here in Vegas.
They all open restaurants there.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Casinos.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. My antennas are like this. I'm going to New Orleans next month for my birthday. Well, in March.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Talking about food. Talking about.
There's this one place called Drago's that I want to go. They have char grilled oysters that they dip a bunch of butter and all this good stuff on. I can't wait. I cannot wait, bro. I can't wait.
Banks, did you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, no. If we go to Vegas, I'm definitely going to Reno because I'm a rancher at heart, and I hear there's a bunny ranch that I might.
This guy.
No comment.
What you trying to get people on this stream in trouble?
He's the main guy. He should be the one that's there for everybody.
I'm out here trying to live life the good way.
You too.
I'm newly divorced. Trying to get married soon one day. You're married, Reigning. You're not married, are you? No. Yeah. So, come on, Shay. You gotta lead us the right way, brother.
Yeah. No, I'm married, man. I'm out of this.
It's a good. I like ranches.
Funny ranches.
With that being said, I did want to add before we close this out to touch on the topic that we had. I think Banks asked you the question: what would you tell a young streamer as far as what they learned from this podcast? One of the things that you told me when I first started that has stuck to me since day one was quality over quantity.
Yep.
And that sticks with me every time I edit a video, every time I set up for a stream. And for those of y'all that don't get what it means, is take pride in what you do. Mm-hmm. Like the product that you put out on the internet, make sure you're happy with it before you put it out. So
back then I was streaming once a week, and I was like, okay, would it be better for me to put out shoddy work every day of the week or do one really good 3-hour stream a week? The answer was clear.
Well,
but yeah, put pride in your work, and this thing looks really professional. So
we're gonna have a motto to go around here one day that I think that I would like all of us to incorporate, and that's going to be no lazy days. Whenever we come here to the cast, we got to give it 110% because when you never know how far these videos reach, and the people, it's available to the internet. So anybody can just click it and say, what are these guys talking about?
Yeah, you never know. Always conduct yourself as if someone from like ESPN or Barstools just clicked onto your stream. Yep. You know what I mean? You never know. It might today, right now, it could be your breaking moment, where you guys blow up.
True. Yeah.
So
it kind of goes back to what you're saying earlier. Is be your authentic self.
That's it.
Everybody literally has infinite potential.
Yep.
It's just a matter of someone else realizing it, but you got to realize it first.
Exactly. 100%. That's the best way you can put it, honestly.
Well, thank you.
So with that being said, if anybody's a young upcoming streamer watching this right now, just remember this: quality over quantity. Said Absolutely. By Reigning Ravens.
And I will also extend this olive branch to all your friends, because any of your friends are my friends. If anyone has any questions as far as starting up streaming, My DMs on Twitter are always open. Send me a message. Let's get this worked out for you.
I appreciate that, man. Like he said, you can find Reigning Ravens on Twitter at Reigning Ravens. Be sure to check him out on Twitch at Reigning Ravens. This is the Not for Debate podcast. You can also find us on Spotify, Anchor,
Google,
Apple Podcasts, all the major streaming platforms. Also, be
Radio
sure to
Shack.
Yes, you can be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and most definitely share. And Reigning Ravens, can we please get one of those famous outros?
This is Reigning Ravens out. Until next time, Jesus bless all you guys, and go Ravens.
We out.